Hi everyone, I'm not in my car. As you can see, I'm in a Porsche. It's a Lent car. It is a Porsche Panamera 4S e-hybrid. Now, I know a lot of people have got reservations about electric cars. My missus has got an electric car. I've had my Tesla and we don't have any problems with range anxiety, but some people still do. I just would like to give you a little option, not £100,000 Porsche Panamera 4 e-hybrid option. I know this is out of the range for the majority of people, but there's more and more cars that have got the plug-in hybrid systems that offer a decent range, and what I'm talking about is more than 30 miles. This is a big heavy car. It's got a pretty big plug-in battery, but it's still a plug-in hybrid. It's still got I think it's a 3-litre turbocharged engine, but it's got an electric motor. Apparently you can do up to 87 miles an hour in electric mode. So I've got to head up to Preston, and what I'm going to try and do is go all the way on electric mode only. These vehicles nowadays have a benefit in kind benefit. I think the longer range that you can have, the more benefit in kind you may have if you're a business owner. However, they're a lot of the time, for me, a good option. And if you plug it in like this one's been plugged in, honestly, you can use it most of the time on electric mode only. So we're heading off. We will say goodbye to the Focus, and I'm going to try, like I said, to drive all the way to Preston on what we've got, 45 miles. Now, I know Preston from my house is not 45 miles away. I'm just going to turn this switch in a sec, just make sure we get around the corner. We are just on a lecky at the minute. I'm just going to turn the little switch here so we work off e-power only, and it does allow me a fair bit of acceleration. We're going to have a look at that. I'm just going to get the rear window demisted. Sorry for only having the one camera today. I know it's not facing me, but honestly, it's not my car. I didn't want to put cameras all over it, but we will see what's what. I'm going to have a little look at the performance. This might be a little bit different than just a regular car. I did do a video a couple of years back now. It's probably about 3 years ago. I did a video on one of my son's partner's girlfriend, one of my son's girlfriend's car, and she had a plug-in hybrid Seat Leon, and I think I ran it all the way on electric, and we did getting on 30 miles. Now, the cold conditions doesn't help this situation as well. That depletes the range, but we're going to see what's what and see how we get on. I'm not just going to go on the town roads. I am going to go on the motorway as well, so we're going to see how quickly it depletes. But it may just be an option that you haven't considered. If you're an occasional longer journey driver, but you spend most of it round towns and bits and bobs, it could be a perfect option. It's actually an option, not this Porsche Panamera, but it is an option that I would probably look at if I was having an automatic vehicle. I think I would have a plug-in hybrid because I could get away most days with doing only 45 miles. Okay, so I am going to follow exactly where the sat-nav tells me to go. We still haven't had the engine kick in. Even in e-power mode that we've got here. Let's just deal with the lorry. I don't want to scrape it, it's not mine. Even in e-power mode, I wonder whether the engine will kick in. I'm just going to put my foot down. Yes, it will. All right, so no problems. So it does kick in if you need it, even in e-power mode. Does it stop it going in e-power? How long? I don't want to use fuel. Don't want to use fuel. Have you now got to go off onto a different mode and then back into e-power? Maybe. The car just probably thinks you want to bomb it. So I'm going to go into hybrid a second and then back to e-power. Yeah, the engine's still working. Don't know what I've done. Anyway, we'll see what's what in a sec. It might have to come to a stop before the engine actually cuts out. Don't know. Anyway, I thought I'd have a little play about with it. I haven't driven this car much, to be honest. Make sure no one cuts the corner and goes into me. Engine switched off again, which is good. Anyone going to let me out? So there's a little bar on the steering wheel which shows you how much acceleration you can have. Brilliant. Got up to 33, no bothers there. It's actually quite brisk on electric power only. It's not quite electric car brisk, but it's still plenty brisk enough to just be driving around. And I found that with the Seat Leon as well. Now it's still saying we've got 44 miles. Battery charge has gone down to 97%. Okay. It didn't work brilliantly in the Seat on the motorway, if I remember rightly. But like I said, I've done a little bit of reading up on this car, and it is a 2024 car. It's only done about 1,400 miles. Said the list price without options is £91,000. So what I said before about benefit in kind and businesses, this is where a majority of these cars are going to be sold. But there are plug-in options across the board. I think a lot of them as well are trying to increase their mileage because they realise that just a 30-mile range isn't quite enough for people, especially in the winter. Let's see what the horn's like. Meep, meep. Not too bad. Yeah, especially in the winter, that range is going to drop. That might not be quite enough for people. Tell you what I did notice that was a little different as well. That this charged 7.6 kilowatts, which is my home charger speed. The Seat didn't. It only charged at 3.6. So that also makes a fair bit of difference on its usability. I'm not sure which manufacturers do that. I know the Mercedes A-Class, the A250E, charges at a higher rate. And I'm pretty sure more of the manufacturers are going down that route nowadays, and it makes a lot of sense. 96%, and only 43 miles. I think I've actually probably done more than a mile. Anyway, we'll see what it takes. It says on my ways I've got 32 miles to get there, but it'll be interesting when I get to the motorway on what it's like. What's the car like? A Porsche is a Porsche. For me, they are my favourite motor vehicles. They're very expensive to run. What are you doing? He thinks I'm going to go straight over a mini roundabout. Anyway, ready to deal with it. Remember, might not give way. But yeah, they're my favourite cars. Love the Porsches. Love how they drive. Not necessarily how they look, I'll be honest. I think this Panamera 4 isn't the best looking car. But driving wise, honestly, I don't think there's much better. So if you ever get a chance to go and do a track day in one, go and have a go. Unbelievable things. My mum did have a 911 years ago. Cracking car. You just probably get a little bit too old to get in and out of a 911. but it's a little bit too big, heavy and expensive for doing what I do. But the same sort of process and mindset that I'm talking about the plug-in hybrid is really why I'm having a little experiment with this today. One thing I have noticed, because it's a newer car, if you go over the speed limit, it shouts at you. I'm going to show you that a little bit further up. Even if I just do one above, listen to this. Did a few above there, but you can hear it. And you have to turn these systems off in the newer cars. I don't mind that, if I was honest. It doesn't make much difference to me. I rarely break speed limits. If I do, it's by 1 or 2, and it's I wouldn't say a little error. We're just not robots. But for me, it's not a problem. There's a lot of these safety systems nowadays that do have to be turned off, and they come back on as soon as you turn the car back on. The one that annoys me is the lane keep assist. This has got it on. I think it activates over a certain speed, and it fights against you as normal cars do. I'm not calling this a normal car, but it's no different than it would do in my car. My car, it is constantly turned off, but I think since this year, 2024, go on, I'm going to let you know. Go on in. Since 2024, all these systems have to be turned off prior to, she nearly reversed into the fella and a dog. Scared. Okay. Yeah, this year you have to turn all these systems off before they do deactivate. What's your experience of that as well? I think we are going down that way. Even speed limiters might be the case in the future, but I don't think the speed limit recognition systems are up to scratch as of yet. See if we can nip round this in Lecky mode. Yeah, there's plenty in it. I don't know what horsepower this electric motor is. I'm suspecting it might be just over 100 horsepower, because I do know the base without the hybrid system. I do know the Panamera 4 is about 360 odd horsepower, and I know this one's 470. So it is reasonably quick. I think it does 0 to 60 in about just over 4 seconds. So there's plenty in it, but it's stopping these big things that takes all the extra tech, in my opinion. But that's again somewhere where Porsche do excel. Fabulous things. So is Ashley's next driving school car going to be a Porsche? There we go. Broke it by 1 or 2, and straight away it was on it and telling me. No problems. Pick up from 30 to 40. Not bad at all. I eased off that. It's interesting, it still does have the gears. And what I will add as well, it does seamlessly transition, even on electric mode, through the gears. I don't know how they do it, but the tech nowadays is fab. Amazing. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to get ourselves, by the looks of it, up onto the M58, and then we'll have a little look on the motorway and see how it performs, seeing whether the actual electric motors are powerful enough to propel this. I'm suspecting it's going to be a 2-ton vehicle at motorway speeds. See whether it's actually realistic to use, or whether it's just reserved for around the town stuff. We will see. It seems powerful enough anyway. Remember, this has all been done apart from my little experiment to see whether you could get it back into engine mode as well. It's all going to be done in electric. So it's 39 miles left on my dashboard, 30 miles range on, I was a little fast there, 29 to go on Waze, 39 on the dash. So we're going to see whether it will last the whole of the way. Okie dokie. Would a plug-in hybrid be something that you would think about? I must admit, it does make a big difference as well with my missus's electric car, because we charge overnight in the cheaper periods. We do have an EV tariff, 7.2 pence per kilowatt, so I think my missus's car will probably cost around about £3.5 to £4 to fill up, and that's for probably about a 240-ish mile range. So when you put it on those terms, if you could use something like this on electric mode only, it might be worth the extra added premium over just the normal model. I don't know the difference. Is it about, it's about £5,000, I think, the difference between the base model and this, but it's not going to be £5,000 if you buy a Volkswagen Golf or a Ford Focus, or tell you what I have seen in these plug-in hybrids, seen the Ford Cougars. Wouldn't mind trying one of them, to be honest. Now I am going to head out onto the motorway. I just used a little more there just to stay in front of the BMW, and we're going to see how well it goes to join the motorway. Yep, good. It's perfectly acceptable what it's got to emerge onto roundabouts. Handling beautiful, such a balanced car. Got to be careful though that you don't catch people out who don't expect you to be going around as quick. So here we go, 38, as much acceleration as you can squeeze out of it, and we are easy up. So that answers my question about the power available. Yeah, still all in electric mode, 65 miles an hour, no issues. Okay, I'm not going to say as much now. It's pretty boring, this little bit. I'll probably do a little bit when we get to the end of the M58 and when we're joining the M6, because that's the way we're heading up to Preston. But then in between times, not much going on, unless something happens, but I'll chip in when I need to. So we've got 8, nearly 9 miles of difference in what we've got remaining on the electric charge for the car compared to what we've got on Waze. It says 9 at the minute, but sometimes it's 8, so it's in between somewhere. Not in a pocket. I'm going to need to head out. I was in a pocket. That one wasn't going to aim for the pocket. That vehicle, the driver of that vehicle, just needed to do a little more to build a little more speed. Adjust your speed to fit into the space. Don't expect everyone to do what I just did and fix her problem. I think I'm just going to just tuck it in here rather than slowly catching this blue one. I'm just going to drop a few miles an hour, see whether I can do anything. Just got to be careful of the van on the hard shoulder here. Got an escape route, which is though he's doing the correct thing. But yeah, dropping even 10% of your speed. I'm just going to press still there with Waze. Yeah, even dropping 10% of your speed then has a big effect, or quite a large effect, on economy on electric assisted vehicles or electric vehicles. Making sure I don't get boxed in. Got a silver one next to us, nothing that side. That's where what I demonstrated before is still an important factor, that if I needed some more acceleration, all I have to do is just floor it, the petrol engine instantly kicks in. My thought is though, yes, it came on once, but it hasn't been on since I moved the car around to charge it earlier on today. Would that do any damage to the engine? I don't think so, but if it's starting from this scenario and hasn't been on, and then you rag it, it's probably not had a chance to warm up properly. I wonder what safeguards car manufacturers put in to look after that situation. If anyone knows, please write in the comments. 72, I know it's 72. And actually it's exactly the same as my ways, so I'm just correcting. As we can see by the display, it's all adding into the battery when we do this. So 28 miles left on my range, 20 miles, so we're 8 miles, we're staying pretty steady. That situation about the Corsa just nipping in, just remember, people may have just got themselves into the wrong lane, or maybe been moving back in for a little bit of lane discipline, need to get out in this lane, and then someone's closed the space down. So don't always think that someone does that to just jump a queue. Doesn't matter. The Porsche displays, you used to, I remember in my mum's 911, a couple of the displays were outside of your view, behind the steering wheel and behind your hands. They've changed that now, and you can see everything through this gap at the top. Displays are nice and clear, if I was honest. I haven't changed them, I haven't messed about with it. Leaving a little bit of acceleration space, just letting that lorry go past. There's a nice space behind, other lorry drivers moved out. That one in front wasn't the best. Well done, sir. Although the people joining from the giveaway or the slip road have to give way, do your best to aid flow. Some people have a terrible attitude over that. I don't have to. No, that really sums up the poor attitude. Visibility is pretty good in this Panamera. Loads of glass. Quite like the sunroof as well, although not a massive sunroof fan when you're sat in the car all day in the summer and the sun's beating down. I know some of the vehicles do have these clever new features nowadays where they can frost out or cover the sunroof automatically depending on the sunlight hitting it. But I'm not a big fan of sunroofs. I had one on my Toyota Yaris and forever had the blinds covered. So, plainly and simply, no issues just to work on electric motor. It's just whether we're going to get enough of the range. 26 miles left on my car screen, 17 left on this, so we're back up to 9. I haven't even looked at how to turn the speed warnings off. A lot of the screens in the vehicles nowadays are overly complicated. As I've stated before, and I'll state it again, I'd rather just have it on and park into a service station and go and fix it rather than doing it on the move. And I always advise anyone else to do the same. A lot of the tech in the car nowadays just makes driving even big of a distraction, or a bigger distraction. Escape route, car, van, and van. Cars to my right. I'm just going to position up a little. So rather than heading out in front of this one, I decided just to alter my speed. Did I have to? No. I'm going to stay where I am doing my speed. You're an embarrassment if you take to driving in that manner. I don't have to. You don't have to be a good and proper person. No. Would like to say a massive thanks to the good people at Porsche Preston for lending me this overnight. It's a few people I know there, that's all. And they lent me the Taycan 4S a little while back. They lent me that for a couple of days, and they've lent me this 24 hours or so. So big thanks to people at Porsche Preston. When you're buying your Porsche for your first car, please go to Porsche Preston. Tell them Ashley sent you. There might be some people who are going to buy a Porsche for the first car. Look at you. Just make sure you drive it accordingly, because they are potent, quick things. Even going back before my mum's 911, she had a Boxster. What was that one? Was that the 2.5 before they bought the 2.7 out? I think it was. I think it was one of the earliest ones. S-Reg springs to mind. So my affinity with Porsches really goes back to my mum having a couple. Little pocket. Keep in the pocket as long as the vehicles in front are keeping up. Little pocket. If someone's going to be not allowing your pocket, just back off. Never been this way to Porsche Preston. Trustways, do you ever go against your satellite navigation and go, I know better? Fair. I actually do, but I've learned over the last probably 6 months, don't. So I've just gone with it today. Please let me know in the comments as well which navigation service you use. Do you use Apple Maps? If you've got an Apple user, do you use Google Maps? Do you use Waze, or do you use something different? A couple of people have said to me recently about TomTom and their paid for navigation is a good system. Has anyone got any experience of that? That would be interesting to know. It might be something that I do a little experiment with. Get in a car, have 3 different navigations going all at once. Sound like John. I think John runs 2. Can't remember the reasoning behind why he does. John, if you watching this video, which I know you tune in most times, why do you use 2 navigations? I can't remember your reasoning. Here's a little question as well, and I'm not saying I'm getting one. Do you think it would make a blind bit of difference what car I drove with the stuff that I do on the channel? I don't. I really don't. If you think back, I've already mentioned today about my Yaris and the sunroof that I had in it. Didn't like the sunroof. I've always had a car that maybe is fit to purpose, but I've always been pushed towards a car that I like to drive as well. But I honestly, and I've toyed with this as well, I've toyed with buying something posh, but I just don't think it has any relevance whatsoever. I think, or how I think about cars is this: the more expensive vehicle that you have, the more you have to work. And honestly, many of you will probably know that I'm 50 in probably around the same sort of time as this video goes out. So I'm getting to that stage in my life now where I want a little bit more free time, so I don't want to be spending £100,000 on a vehicle and then having to work all the blasted time to go off and pay for the bloody thing. But do you think it would make a blind bit of difference to the content that I produce? I think I already know the answer to that one. So 2.7 miles to go. We've got 14 miles on our range, so pretty obviously we're going to get there unless something drastic happens. So, summary of the Porsche Panamera. Driving school car? No. Expensive? Yes. I couldn't even tell you whether it's worth it. Couldn't tell you. I don't think it would be worth it for me. Like I said, how I see vehicles is just you've got to work harder. So no, it's not worth it for me, but I can see why people would buy it. If you're after a premium vehicle, you can't get much better than Porsches, in my opinion. Ride quality is fab. Tech, haven't tried much of it out, couldn't tell you. But this particular version, the plug-in hybrid version, it probably does do 45 miles, because I think it said, say 32, 33 when I started things, so we've got 13 miles left, so did exactly what it said it would. That actually surprises me, because motorway and high-speed stuff is the worst time for electric vehicles and battery depletion. So all in all, top class. Everything's so lovely put together, beautiful stitching all round, leather dash, the doors don't half shut with a clunk. It's properly put together, but you do pay a premium for it. For me, as time has gone on, cars are more like a tool for work and just a way of getting me from A to B. For me, would I buy one? No, I wouldn't. I think I would probably go for something half the cost, and I think you could probably still get a pretty damn good quality and probably get a similar range. I drove a Volvo recently in the US, and I think that's actually what I would go for at the minute. Not saying I'm getting a Volvo either, but anyway, pretty obviously we're going to get to my destination, 0.8 of a mile. So we will wrap this up. Thanks a lot for tuning in, everyone. Keep safe, and I will see you all soon.